What's up, Kingdom Warriors? Welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome and blessed day. So this video is kind of gonna perhaps only be interesting to kind of the nerdy science geek type of people out there like myself. Um, I realize that God speaks to people in the language that is most familiar to them or what they're interested in, or perhaps their career. And as I mentioned before, an example of this is in biblical times, most of those people were equestrians, they were farmers, they were shepherds. And so God would use a lot of parables about fruit trees and, the vine and the branch and sheep and being a shepherd and things of that nature. But today he speaks to us as individuals in a language that is familiar to us. And I just think it's so cool because when I first became aware of the fact that there was going to be a global reset and that God was going to use it as an opportunity to transfer a lot of the wealth that's in the hands of wicked people into hands of some righteous people on the earth that he could trust to bring forth his kingdom agenda on the earth. um, I started coming across these YouTube pages that it was pretty obvious after a few times it was God doing it, because it would be someone with very few subscribers, but there was a congruency or confluence similarities in what they were talking about. And the thing that was most notable to me is that I was already pretty familiar and into the cryptocurrency space, have been since about 2017. But many of these people were using terms that were unique to the space that you would only know if you were in the space, but they weren't in the space. It was coming to them just only by the spirit. And like Manuel Johnson, to this day, it cracks me up. He'll call Ethereum Ethereum, Ethereum. I just laugh to myself. It's so cool how God can give something. It's just a confirmation, it's God, because you know what they're talking about, but it's just so funny. And I always pondered in my heart how neat that was, that you can hear from God in such a way that even something you've never heard of, you know what I mean? I'm just like, man, that's like, you really got to have some faith to get to that level. And it's something like that finally happened to me just the other day. Um, God was he talks to me often about the fact that we're his children. And he's always building that identity in me. And that might be unique to me as it's something that I need to be built up in. But that's why I often end my videos of saying, we are sons and daughters of the Most High God. So be royal. That's just a theme. God often talks to me about kingship, crowns, things of that nature. And I think that possibly because my first name means crowned with a laurel wreath, or victorious warrior, or victory. And my middle name means God will increase. And I never liked my first name ever. People used to make fun of me when I was young. Oh, you have a white people name. Oh, you think you're white. And then especially being that the way my mom spoke, she enunciated. She used to like to try to hide her accent a lot, being from another country. So she really enunciated her words, and so I just spoke very proper. I remember a lot of the other black kids would bully me in school. They would tell me I think I'm white. My name is Steven. That's a white name, and all this stuff. But when I learned what my name meant many years later, I grew to love my name. You know, and when I would see people in the Bible, how even from the moment they were born, they would have a name that would be symbolic of what they would accomplish in life. And it always gave me hope, because even though people around me could see it in the earlier parts of my life, I could never really, I didn't see victory. I didn't see, uh, I didn't see those things. So my name gave me hope, when I learned what it meant. And to be honest, I still don't really feel like, um, even though victory is not, it's not like you have one victory in your life and that's it. It's kind of a series of wins. You win a lot of battles and then you ultimately win the war. You could look at it that way. Um, but now I know that as long as I just remain close to God, I already have the victory. I just have to walk it out. I'm very confident in that now, but it took quite some time to get there. So kind of getting back to the original point of the video was that God often speaks to me in a very specific way, and it has to do with reminding us that we're His children, we're kings, we're sons and daughters of the Most High God. Victory, very common theme. And so this particular day, He was reminding me again, "You're my son," and He will often say, "You come from my DNA. You have my DNA in you." Things of that nature, and which is becoming more common now. People talking about mysteries about our DNA and things like that. But then I heard a word, a vestigial, or something like vestigial, right? And I know I heard it. So I'm like, I wanted to just go on, but I said, let me go on Chat GPT. So I typed it in Chat GPT. I said, does vestigial have some type of connection to DNA? Right? And it corrected the word. It said, I think you mean this. I misspelled it. Just like many of the people, Ethereum, it's the same thing, but it knew what I meant. And it said, yes. It said a vestigial is a dormant gene that we have, and it's a function that we as humans used to be able to do that we no longer have. And of course, it goes on a bunch of evolutionary nonsense. We know that's not true, but it was so cool because there was two things, and I didn't even do a deep dive. There would probably be much more, but there were two things that stood out to me. The first thing was that it said one of the vestigials or dormant genes that we have is one that shows that we as humans used to be able to create vitamin C internally. Now, nowadays we have to eat oranges or something like that to get vitamin C. We can no longer produce it internally, but they can look at our genetic markers and see that we used to, because it's a dormant gene that they can still find in certain animals that can produce vitamin C internally. um, and another thing that's so funny is that originally I'm really into health and fitness, and I was going to make this channel a hybrid of both, but I realized I need to separate them when I can get some time. So I made one video, and that video was on antioxidants and free radicals. And vitamin C is an antioxidant that, you know, it removes free radicals from your body. So another, coincidence, right? And so anyway, I thought that was interesting, but it actually mentions several other different antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, if you will. Essentially, what I gather from that is that if we used to be able to produce those things internally, it creates a case. The Bible says people used to live like Methuselah was the longest, 969 years. And then because they got so much into sin, God said, I'm going to shorten their lifespan because they could accomplish so much evil if they have all this time on the earth. And so he shortened their lifespans. But the reason I always say that science confirms the Bible is because if you know how to look and you have an independent mind, you can see that the genes are still there scientifically. Now, they have a cover story about evolution and how we no longer need it nowadays because food is available, but that's kind of silly if you think about it. If we could produce vitamin C internally, that would be of great benefit. Why would we stop doing that? Because we can eat oranges. That's illogical. And I think something like that would be a great benefit because as I described in that video, your body is always trying to remove free radicals at all times. They come from any sort of toxin. You could go outside, breathe in the exhaust, just a little bit of particles from car exhaust. Carbon monoxide is bad and it causes free radical, it causes damage in your body, right? And then you need antioxidants that counter that. They stop oxidation. That's the reason why when you bite into an apple, it turns brown, like very, very quickly. It's starting to oxidize because the skin is no longer protecting it. And your body is always trying to stop oxidation, always, and it needs it needs antioxidants to do that. So how beneficial could it be if the moment you encounter some sort of free radical, which we always are, even natural processes like eating food cause a lot of free radicals to be released because of the things that are in our food. Now they're starting to realize how bad a lot of the oils we use are. The seed oils are absolutely terrible for you, right? So when you're eating food that's fried in that stuff, it's like massive amounts of free radicals that get released, and your body is just trying to work to clean all that stuff up. Imagine if we could have produced it internally, right? You can make a case that humans would have lived much longer. And it's not just vitamin C. There was many of these vestigial genes, I believe they're called, or vestigial markers that we had. Now let me get into the other one that was cool as well. It pointed out that when it comes to genetic markers, they're usually unique to us, right? For example, my dad may have been tall. My dad is 6'3" or so, right? So it's more likely that I'll be tall. But someone who has a short father, it's more likely that they'll be short. Those are unique to them. Or the color of my skin, I get that from my parents. However, there are common genes that we all have. And they said these vestigial genes, they also go back, that they're found in all humans, which means it would indicate we come from a common ancestor. Well, the Bible says we all came from Adam and Eve, right? So it actually proves that as well. And so I just thought that was really cool. I thought it was really neat that I finally kind of had a little experience like that because I've noticed it coming across other channels over the years. And that was the first time it happened to me. And it was spoken to me in a way, it was spoken to me in a way that was unique to me. It was something I'm interested in, health and fitness, but it pointed back to the Father. And he's just so cool like that. And the reason why I make these videos is to encourage you guys, if you've not had an experience like that, to just press in, because it was other people that I saw and that I continue to see that operate at great levels of faith and do cool things that make me just want to know God more. You know, I always want more of Him, and it's so awesome just getting to know Him and spending time with Him. So I hope this video blessed you guys. I hope you have a great, awesome rest of your day. And remember, we are sons and daughters of the Most High God. So be royal. Catch you next time.